friends. Oh, so good to see everybody today. I am Melissa, and welcome to my channel. And I am a grieving mother, and I make videos sharing my experience in grief, in the hopes that it will encourage and uplift others in grief, specifically other parents grieving. But my heart is for all the grievers. It is, because in grief, I realize that we grieve similar, but yet very different, and that's probably just the human experience, and each of our loss is so unique to us, so we grieve differently. And my last one was regarding the spiritual. I was talking about the spiritual impact of my grief. And so I'm always thinking about my relational impacts. What grief has done to my relationships with people has been, besides my body and mind and heart, relationships are the next runner up that has been altered, very much so altered. And, the loss of Noah and Sophia has affected everything. It has affected everything, friends. And I have my notes, forgive me, like I always do. Those of you who are used to me are hopefully used to this by now, my grief brain, and just need to write things down, But the world is not the same. Our lives are not the same. We are not the same. So since we're not the same, our relationships will not be the same either. And I was not warned of that. But anyways, I wasn't warned that our children would be murdered either. So my entire world has been literally turned upside down. And some people pledge great support at the beginning, but yet they distance themselves over time, And I'm sure many of us can probably relate to this. Like at the beginning of your child's death, there were people that were right there that pledged themselves to you. They promised they would be there for you. But then, and at the beginning, they very well were. And then as weeks, months go by, they're distanced themselves. You don't hear from them at all. It's not an immediate withdrawal. It's just real slowly, to where you almost actually don't notice it until you realize, wait a minute, it's been a month since I heard from so-and-so. And you find yourself missing that person and missing their comfort. There's some people, others, I have people in my life who are very well-meaning. Like you can tell their hearts mean well, but they just say and do some of the most unhelpful shit. I swear to God Almighty. I mean, it is the most ridiculous shit that they say and do. And you're just left like, OMG, really? Really? And then yet there are still others who will come closer to you, and they play a larger role than they ever have in your life. They were already in your life. They had a role in your life, but they now the Lord has graced them. The Lord has strengthened them. The Lord has empowered them to come closer to you in your grief. And now they play a much larger role in your life. And then of course, there'll be some people who are toxic. And I mean toxic. Even within our own family, blood family, it's, others, and then others, they will be safe, healing and comforting, compassionate people. So we got a variety of all of that out there, right? A variety of all of our characters, even new people will come into your life. I have new people that have come into my life, and they have become extremely key influences in my life and in my husband's life and in the lives of Elijah and Hannah as well. And even in the lives of my siblings. I have some friends, new friends that have stepped into my life, into my grief, and they not only care for me, but they care for my husband, for Elijah, for Hannah, for my sisters and my brother. They're willing to help my brother and my sisters. in real, tangible, financial ways even. Yeah, those are beautiful people that God puts into our lives that not only just love us as the grievers, as the immediate grievers, but even those closest to us, even the aunts and uncles of Noah and Sophia and my mother. Oh, the friends that were so beautiful to my mother. I mean, they remembered her and remembered she lived with us. And they not only brought gifts for me and my husband, but they brought gifts specifically for my mother too. Yeah, that really blessed my mother. That really did, you know. And yeah, I could probably stay on that topic for a long time, the supportive, but this video is about unsupportive people. My next video will be about supportive people, you know, and unsupportive people are hard to talk about. This is a little bit of a hard video to make because I, honest to God, am not wanting to offend anyone. It's interesting how I still care for that, how I still seem to be sensitive to others and their feelings. But I do. And it's not a video to bash anyone, you know, or to point fingers, you know, but it's what I experience. It is what I experience, you know, and I have some family members that hardly talk to us now. They hardly talk to us, you know. Excuse me, friends. You know, this hurts because Noah and Sophia mattered. They mattered to us so greatly. So it hurts terribly when we have unsupportive family. How do we handle this? How do we handle unsupportive family? Yeah, boundaries is definitely the number one thing. Boundaries is how we handle unsupportive family. Understanding ourselves. You know, all my other videos before this all just dealt with us personally and all the things we experience in our grief. And family has been disappointing for us. It has. I have family that have been extraordinary and they have been beyond not disappointing. And I have family that have been disappointing. So I've got a nice fat handful of both. So I do, you know, and we, you know, Vinny and I, we heard all the same usual stuff that I'm sure maybe you guys probably heard too. You know, we're here with you. We'll be there for you. Anything you need and all that stuff, you know, all that stuff. Anything you need, just give me a call. Just give me a call. That one I just dislike. It is difficult for a deep, heavy griever to pick up the phone and call somebody. We need them to call us. Especially in the beginning of grief. It's definitely, I don't feel like till, who knows? Everybody, there's no timetable. So it's just whenever you arrive in that place that you're able to pick up the phone and call. But until you arrive at that place, you're just not able to. They don't get it. And then I believe the enemy just lies to them and tells them, we're okay. They're fine. See, she hasn't called you. She hasn't texted you. You know, she only calls and texts when it's drama, right? You know, she only calls and texts when things are bad. So since you haven't heard from her, they're fine. Bullshit. And it's a fucking lie from the pit of hell. We're not fine. And it's difficult to do that. It's difficult to extend ourselves out there. But I know, I get it. You mean well. Because guess what? I'm guilty of that too. Before my grief, I was guilty of that too. Hey, anything you need, call me. I'm here for you. Ooh, I cringe sometimes when I think about the fact that I said that to people. Ugh, I was ignorant. Ignorant is bliss, isn't it, friends? I didn't even get it. I was nowhere near getting that, you know? And so, but now those people, they hardly talk to us now, except to say that basically in their actions and behaviors say that we should be over this by now. I mean, literally their behavior just screams that. I got siblings that still expect me to put on holidays as if our mom was still here and our dad and all my children, because that's what the norm always was. We go to Melissa's house. Everybody comes to Melissa's. Melissa and Uncle Vinny's house. Everybody's here. All the siblings are here. All their children are here. It's been that way for decades. But I'm not able to do those things anymore, even 4 years later in grief. Very, very, very hard. And so, no, I got siblings that they're just like, whatever, get over yourself and be the aunt for my children that I need you to be for them. And I don't really ever hear anything. What about Elijah and Hannah? I still have 2 teenagers at home. Do they care about being just as much as an influential aunt to them as they expect and want me to be in their children? Well, because I always have been. So I know it hurts. It hurts them not to be able to come over here anymore. It hurts them that this is all the way it is. So we're all hurt. We're all broken. We're all hurt. And since we're dysfunctional anyways, it's real difficult for us to comfort and console each other in the depth and the manner in which we really need it. Yeah. I'm devastated. The pain is unbelievable. And on top of that, we not only feel alone, but rejected. We feel rejected by our family and our friends who barely speak to us anymore, who don't allow grace for us and our mistakes. Yeah. When loss hits, things change. Family can disappoint us, friends. The death of a child shatters our world and shakes all our relationships. Yeah. Even our marriages. Most definitely our marriages. That's a video for another day too, friends. This is natural and common in grief. That's what I've observed. All the grief books I've been reading and the people that I'm meeting, the beautiful souls that I'm meeting in grief, after I speak with a few conversations with them, usually by the 3rd conversation, they have disclosed that they feel alone and rejected, that they're not close with family, that, so-and-so didn't even come to the funeral, or so-and-so didn't even send a card, or so-and-so only came to the funeral and I've never heard them since from there. Or so-and-so went behind my back and tried to order an autopsy report on my children. And the state of Colorado has to call me to tell me, hey, somebody from Nebraska has ordered an autopsy report on your 2 children. But in Colorado, since they're children and minors, we give the parents the right to decide if you want to release an autopsy report. Which, of course, I said, hell, fuck no. Excuse me, friends. Excuse me. And I do everything on my phone. Don't have a laptop yet, so my editing doesn't really allow me to edit out things like my drinks and stuff. So y'all along for the ride. But yeah. Grief makes family members do weird shit and things that you can't even really explain. And I can only imagine that family member had no idea how to come ask me, how many times was Noah and Sophia stabbed? Where were they stabbed? You know what's in an autopsy report, right, friends? The gruesome details of their death and everything else about the child. Everything they ate, even down to the Benadryl I gave them the night before they went to sleep. That is private, personal information, by the way, in case anyone doesn't actually know that. In case maybe any of you are thinking, even contemplating ordering an autopsy report on somebody that's not your own child. I don't give a shit if it's your niece or grandchild. Don't do it. Do not do it. You better talk to that parent first. You must talk to that parent first. That parent has the right to be spoken to first. I am really tired. I am so sick and tired of other people taking away our parental rights, even in our children's death. that they think or they subconsciously walk in our rights as the parents, or even take them away. Like we don't get to say so anymore. Like we are no longer allowed to say yes and no for Sophia and Noah. It's bullshit. It's ridiculous. And I resent it to its core. You don't do that kind of stuff, peeps. Don't be doing that kind of stuff. Talk to the parent first. You just got to. You got to find a way to. Because I promise you, they're going to find out. These are children. Can't just be getting autopsy reports for children, minor children. I mean, yeah, they're public record, but praise God, in Colorado, nobody can get one without our permission first. Or family members that argue over the plots in the ground that you had reserved right next to for your own child, so I could be buried next to my own child. I mean, there is just a lot of ridiculous things that family does, and even friends. I mean, I got friends that just expect me to drop everything still and be there for them. Listen to their ridiculous, I'm so sorry, friends, forgive me. I'm going off, aren't I? I am on a rant. Small talk is hard, friends. It's hard. And there's many days, there's some days that, yes, I do yearn for the small talk. And so when I do, I'll do it. And when I don't, I don't. There are days that that I yearn to hear what's going on in your life and take my mind off my shit and hear yours and focus on you. And then there's days I don't. I got friends who come here from out of town on major holidays and don't understand how hard a major holiday is for us. And they want to come over the day after a major holiday. And then argue with you back and forth through text messaging because you're actually throwing your pearls before swine. You're actually being vulnerable and telling this friend how depressed you are, how down you are, how abnormal you feel, and you just ain't in the mood no matter how much you love her. So, yeah, so just imagine we got all these things, plus all those things I talked about in my other videos. Then we've got these unsupportive relationships, these relationships that have changed, and I just feel like more loss. Once again, we experience another loss. Losing my relationships with my siblings and some of my friends has been devastating for me. Yet I'm not even sure how to fix that. I just keep going to the Lord for it. I know the Lord's going to change my heart, trusting He is. Mine, theirs. Make a way for reconciliation, because that's what the Lord wants. He doesn't want our families divided, our relationships divided. You know, we expect support, love, acceptance from family and friends, but the reality just very well may be different, friends. You know, instead of being with us in our loss, they may even sometimes try to fix us. They also sometimes try to help us feel better, you know, or somehow rescue us from our pain, you know. And so in addition, we have these unspoken expectations of family. We do. And a lot of times we didn't even realize we did until the shit hits the fan. You know, what level, we have these unspoken levels of expectations on what level of support they will give, you know, how much they should contact us, and how will they behave. So we just have these in our minds. So if these expectations are high, which I noticed and realized mine were, chances are you're going to be disappointed like I was. I was disappointed. And, you know, so I just come to the conclusion that real caring family members, they just don't like to see us in pain. So sometimes our pain can trigger theirs. Yeah. And then it's hard, and they find themselves increasingly uncomfortable around us. They don't know what to do or say. And so perhaps they just kind of end up hurting us, you know, and maybe they disappear. And so to us, it feels like they're trying to either wound us further or abandon us to our pain. And who likes to be abandoned and left alone in their own pain? Raise your hand. Yeah, sign me up for that one, would you? I mean, come on. Over time, this disconnect with the family grows, and it grows with the friendships, and the distance between us widens. And it just widens, and then the relationship becomes estranged or even severed. And that's painful. And so then, like I said before, we experience more loss. We're not the same and won't ever be the same again. And some family members and friends just don't understand that. They don't like it. It messes with their world. I've been changed forever by my children and their deaths. My relationships will change too, one way or another. That I have definitely experienced. And these relational changes, they are tumultuous, frustrating, and exhausting. That's what they are to me. So some family members just don't understand that I will never stop loving Sophia and Noah, and even Malik. My mother, father. Yeah. Oh, friends, I better stop all this ranting now, huh? There's a question. Have you noticed? That's what got me going on this. Excuse me. A couple months ago, a question in my journal book was, have you noticed some family distancing themselves from you or trying to fix you? So yeah, that got me going. And how has this affected you? And if that unsupportive family member or friend was standing in front of you right now, what would you like to be able to say? That was helpful for me to write out in my journal what I would like to say to a few of them. It did. Of course, the exercise said to consider writing a letter, an email, or a text that you'll never send. So, I just want to just let us know, guys. I don't know how encouraging it is, but it seems to be a reality in grief that relational upsets among family members, it's not uncommon in grief. Unfortunately, it's not uncommon. Do what you can to grieve responsibly and in a healthy manner, friends. Just do what you can to grieve responsibly. Yeah, and in a healthy manner. Take your time. Grieve your way. Don't apologize for your loss or your grief, which I found myself doing a lot the first couple years. I cringe when I think back on that too. Don't apologize for your loss or your grief or your pain. Yeah. And above all, talk about your child. I love to talk about Sophia and Noah. I really do. And there are times when I actually enjoy talking about Malik. He is my firstborn. I was 19, a couple weeks away from turning 20 when I had Malik. So it's like I felt like I just my young adult life, I grew up with him. We do like to talk about our children. I like to talk about my mom, most definitely. So we want to talk about the people that we have lost. We want to talk about our children. We do, so take your time, grieve your way, and don't apologize for your loss or your grief. Don't. We got to stop apologizing. We need society to normalize grief. Don't we, friends? All right, I have taken enough of your precious time today, peeps. So, it was so good to see you, and thank you for allowing me to do this video today. And I know it was a little hard one. It was a hard one, and I hope you can see my heart through this video. And I am believing for reconciliation with my estranged family. I am. I most definitely know my mother would have wanted that above all. So God bless you, brothers and sisters, and be well today.